Okay, so this is another follow-up from the last video that I did, which was editing an audio file with SoundForge. And in that video, I mentioned that we would put together a playlist using SoundForge. Now, what I did, all right, I guess to begin, as I mentioned in another video, I am a radio DJ at a community radio station here. So we basically, we volunteer our time and we play music on air, and it's also available online. And sometimes I'll have music sent to me in emails, and sometimes I'll end up getting links sent to me instead, and things like that. And I discussed in the video with the Audacity on how to pull music from videos that belong to you, your own content, for backing up purposes or retrieving something that you might have lost that happens to just be in audio format, video format only. And I mentioned how when certain bands sent me video files, when I was creating a playlist using SoundForge, sometimes when they sent me video files that wasn't really working, and I would inform them that I'm going to need to pull the audio from the video if they don't happen to have an MP3 of it, because I can't stream and record quite the same way. I mean, yeah, sure, using the Audacity, if I was to just play their video, I could record it, but that's not like if I was to use SoundForge and just press record, right, and then press play on their video. It won't just record it straight away, the same as it does with Audacity. And even then with Audacity, I'm actually pulling it in real time, right, from the video, which means you have to listen to the entire thing. Now, if you're trying to do, let's say, an hour show or a 2-hour show, are you really going to want to sit there and listen to every single song individually, one at a time, as you're pulling them from a video, essentially doing your full show in real time? I mean, maybe you could. Maybe that's a good idea if you're trying to avoid swears. Hang on a minute. I need to pause this a moment. Okay, so I had to pause that real quickly to take care of something else. So let me think real quickly what I was saying. Right, so I guess a good time for listening to the song in real time as you're setting up your playlist is, if you want to make sure there's no swears in there. Unless, of course, you're already being given clean content, of course. All right, so let's say you already have your MP3s. You've pulled them from videos. Maybe they were sent to you. Maybe you ripped them from your own, CD or album collection. Okay. Now, let me think here. All right. So how I usually do this is I take SoundForge, as you see here, with your empty. Let's call this a canvas, right? This blank space here. We'll call this a canvas for now, and maybe that's exactly what they call it. But I use that software along with Windows Media Player, which I know is kind of weird, but I'll explain why. See, I do a 2-hour radio show, and since the pandemic and so many changes to outdoor public life, we started doing some of our programs at home as opposed to live on air as I used to do. So when you're doing something live on air, you're aware of how much time you have per song and how much time you have, for the entirety of your show. When you're doing it using SoundCloud, I like to create my playlist here, which then gives me an amount of time at the bottom that I can then sort of match up with the time that will show up. I think it shows up down here. And of course, when I'm talking into the mic, producing the radio program, the amount of time differs slightly between what's in this, what's in the playlist here, and what is going to be here. There'll be a slight difference, but I'll be able to at least keep track of how long the songs are and how much time I'm taking up in the show. And on top of that, when I have a playlist written down, it's easier to keep track of the songs that were played as opposed to try to use my memory on each individual song, especially when you see them in here. You know, you see audio tracks as they are raw. You don't really know what the name of the song is unless you're keeping real good track of each individual song as you're putting them into the SoundForge. Okay, so now what I'm using for this video is where is it? I'm using this Ben Sound royalty-free music. Okay, and there's like, you know, a variety of options of genres to choose from. Okay, now as you can see here, they let you use this music free. All they want to do is be attributed to, you know, where you pulled them from. All right, so that's where the tracks are coming from for this particular video, as opposed to using music that's been sent to me from musicians. Okay, now those audio tracks that I was just talking about are here. Okay. And yes, I'm using two monitors, so you're seeing everything on monitor 1. I'm using monitor 2 that you can't see over here to keep space available for you to see what's happening with the SoundForge. But for right now, let's say we're on the second monitor. All right, you'd see something. I see something similar to this about. And then what I would do is I would drag the song in there. Okay, and there's my first song. I know that it's 4 minutes long, etc. So then I could say, okay, well, I mean, maybe I want another like funky, bassy song to follow what was just played, for example, right? So then I might drag another track over and slap it in there. All right, let's move this stuff back over to monitor 2. And then I could just, you know, keep track. All right, there we are. So, you know, that's how I set up my playlist to keep track of the name of the tracks and how much time is being put in. That's why I use the media player like this. Because you don't get this same view using Windows Groove or whatever that sound thing is that they have. I think it's Windows Groove. Well, I mean, let's just see. Oh, My Music, Windows Groove, Groove Music, whatever. Right, that thing, that software. You don't get the same view. All right, so that's why I use these different software, these two different softwares together. With all that said, let's move on. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create our playlist. And I am going to talk in between a couple of the tracks intentionally as if I was creating a playlist for a radio show. And then you can, you know, grasp the knowledge that you need from the video and apply it to your own needs as necessary. So let's start off with the audio from me from my mic. All right, let's do that. Okay, so here you see me talking, and there's the pickup, right? And here's the beginning of this video, which is going to be playing the songs. And I think the first song here looks like groovy hip hop. All right, groovy hip hop. Now, if I was doing this for a radio show, I would come back And as I've mentioned once before, you can scroll in and out to see as much of it as there. This here is like dead air. You can just go ahead and get rid of it, but you play it first. Make sure it's not something you don't want to get rid of. So it's dead air. We go ahead and delete that. Now, if I didn't want to delete it, as I've mentioned once before in a past video, you can undo the delete, or if necessary, redo it. Okay, now you got situations like this here that could be dead air, or in this case, it's picking up me breathing. Oh, that sounds oh, all right. Okay, let's move on. So yeah, I can delete that dead air and like pull in to a certain point and see, what, like, okay, for example, maybe I want to know what this is. So that picked up my breathing in between words and almost sounds like lip smacks, right? And yeah, okay. And then here, this if I didn't really want that there, I can just delete it. All right, and then I can pull in, like that and play. And here's the beginning of this video, which is going to be playing the songs. And I think they're and here, so I can basically go in, highlight what I want to hear, delete the things that are unnecessary, and stuff like that. Okay, great. Now, the more you scroll out, the tighter it gets. You have to use this to, get to your beginning and your end. But this is how you can really go in to zoom in real tight to get stuff that you really don't want, that maybe is an accidental sound. That's and right now we're doing the left channel. I believe this is, yes, left channel. So left channel only. If you're using headphones, you'll be able to notice. All right. Okay. Right channel only. All right. And then, of course, you get right in the middle, you can get them both. Now, if I didn't want that all right in there, just go ahead and delete it. We know this already, but then once you do that, you have like a good amount of like sort of dead air here. You just go ahead and get rid of those things. Once you've done that, you can scroll in, and right here in the beginning, all this is that dead air from like when I very first started clicking record and began to talk. All right. Now, that catches you up from the last video of how to edit your audio. And if you want to learn a bit more about it, go back and check that other video out. We won't really need to do much more of that from here. Now, let's just say that this audio that I just did here happened to be a pre-recorded MP3 of a commercial break or something. Maybe it's a PSA rather. Like a COVID PSA or something to that effect. Maybe it's a station ID, whatever, right? That could be this. Now, what we're going to do is scroll in as tight as we can go. Click right here. And I'm going to pretend that even though this is a recording of me, I'm going to pretend it's just an audio track of anything. Now, as we already noticed from here, my first song was going to be groovy hip hop, right? So we go ahead and we go find that track, drag it over from the folder. There it is. And you want to drag it right to the end till you get that yellow bar and let it go. Oh, well, this is good. This is actually good. Okay. Sometimes something like this will happen, and it's kind of a pain in the butt because it's like, well, that's great. So now it's probably going to play like Chipmunk or something. Okay, so I put it in there. Now, when something like that happens, okay, excuse me. When something like that happens, what you're going to want to do is go to your player, your regular player, play the song. All right, so we have an idea what that's supposed to sound like. Let's click play here. All right, so clearly that's going way, way too fast. So what you want to do is highlight it. And the reason why I scrolled out like I had done there is to catch it between where I talked and then the next track. Okay? Now, let's try playing that again. Okay. I'm going to play the other one on the other side for just a moment to remind myself what it sounds like. Okay. All right. So what you're going to want to do now is come up to, I believe it's Tools. Nope. Effects. Pitch. Pitch Shift. Now, you have options, which are up here. What I usually like to do is default all parameters and then preview it. Okay. All right, that didn't fix it. Sometimes, not often, defaulting all parameters will just automatically fix it, but it did not this time. We know that it's too fast, so we're going to go ahead and bring it down. Let's say like that, and preview it. Okay, so it's still too fast, but it doesn't sound like chipmunks on speed or anything. So let's go ahead a little bit more. Okay, well, I'm having trouble getting it exactly as it was. All right. So in this instance, because I'm having trouble, getting it by these numbers here, I'm going to go back and default. And a way of handling that is sometimes by using the presets, which is going up or down. Now, of course, we don't want to go up because it's too fast. Let's try a fifth down. Nope, too fast. And that kind of is too bad because a third down isn't going to do much better. Nope. Well. Alright, so this track is giving me a little bit more difficulty actually finding where to go. It's kind of sad because usually it's easier than this. However, I'm kind of glad this happened because it gives me a chance to show you how you can fix when a song or track is going too fast or even too slow, if that happens to be the case. So let's see what we can do here. All right, well. Wow, it sounds like I don't have quite the right place to find it where I can get it, where it isn't where it isn't equaling out. And I'm not sure honestly, I'm not quite sure why that is. It is what it is. Sometimes that happens. I have run into situations where trying to actually find the right pitch is really difficult. Sometimes I can nail it. And I know you can use these as well, but sometimes I like to leave these as default unless I really need to hone in. And it is not exactly that easy. I prefer using this here. But we ran into a situation where that wasn't really working. So what I'm going to go ahead is just cancel it. And because that track is not working, we're going to go up here and say undo mix. Now, I imagine that because I talked and did like a recording here, that's where some of the problems coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. We're going to do, so we're going to have to do undo delete and undo delete again. So, I mean, basically I'm trying to go back as far as possible. It just says undo record. But because I've done so many edits, that would take quite a bit of time. So in other words, if you've only done one change, you can usually just go back and do undo record. And it will just get rid of the recording. as opposed to just going back and back and back. Because as you can see, I did an awful lot of edits. There's too many things to kind of go back. So in that case, what I'm going to do is just grab it, highlight it. Oh, before I do that though, before I get rid of it, a quick reminder that you should notice how when I did a talk, when I talked on the mic to the recording, how it does not go up very far. It's not very loud. You want to use process, volume, and turn it up some. And then you get, you know, these peaks are a little bit high. But then you can raise the volume of your recording, okay? Well, we're going to just go ahead and get rid of it altogether. Now, let's try to drag those audios back in. Let's see how this does. Okay. Huh. Well, we can also try the resample function too. That does work. Let's try that one. Let's see how bad it is. Yeah, okay. Let's try the resampling then. Yeah, okay, see now this gives you a whole lot of other options that go way, way further. I think because it's going so fast, we want to bring it down some, and I haven't actually used the resample as much as I have the pitch shift, because sometimes using the pitch just works pretty easily. So let's just give it a shot and see what happens here, huh? Well, that's no good. Wow, they're all really, really fast, huh? Okay. Interesting. I wonder now. So I've just run into a little bit of a headache for myself here that I was not expecting to happen. Interesting. So we're going to undo mix, getting rid of that track. Let's try another one. Let's see if they're all going to do this. Interesting. The sample rate is lower than the destination sample rate. Okay. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go ahead and just start over for a minute here. See how that was the issue. Okay. Starting from scratch. It seemed to have kept the settings from when I did a vocal recording. I mean, that's what it seems like. I'm not certain, but all right, here we go. Let's try again. All right. That's what I was expecting to happen. Just like that. I was expecting it to just work. All right, so now that we've done that, oh, and again, as I've said, if you ever needed to go in, you know, and delete something, you can just scroll in and just get rid of it. All right, we've already covered that a few times. That's just for someone who may have missed it earlier. Maybe they walked out of the room or just didn't happen to catch it when I mentioned it. Okay, so I want to try something. I'm curious. I'm going to try doing a recording like I just did in between the two tracks. This is a recording to be placed in between two tracks of two songs. This is a recording to be placed between two songs. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Now, that's my recording of, you know, what I just talked. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. Process, up our volume. Say, yep. Then we're going to grab this blank space here that we don't need. Just go ahead and get rid of it. We've got blank space here is also unnecessary. And let's play. This is a recording to be placed in between two tracks of two songs. This is a recording to be placed between two songs. 1, 2, 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Now, This is a recording to be placed in between two. Got it. Okay, now let's try adding another track to the playlist and see what happens in between here. I'm gonna go with the dubstep one. Sure, why not? We'll grab that dubstep one and go ahead and slap that in there. You see, you get that dark yellow. That's what you're looking for. Place it, and boom. And that's what I was expecting it to do the first time. Now, apparently, because I began the recording, the playlist with my audio of talking, that was a problem. It seems to me you want to start off with the MP3 that you're intending on beginning your playlist with, and then move from there. Now, I assume that if you're not doing a radio program, that you're not going to be getting on your mic and talking in between the tracks, unless you're intending on giving the playlist to somebody else. All right. So that being said, some of that extra editing will most likely not be necessary for you to be concerned with. Okay. I think this is where I talked, right? This is a recording? Yes. Now, what's interesting is I boosted the volume, and you saw that I increased the volume, but it didn't shoot way up high, right? And that's usually what I expect, is for me to just increase my volume some. This is a record. Okay. All right. So now we've got 2 tracks in. We have, let's scroll this deep. Oh, and you can also see what you're doing up here too. All right. So here's your first track. And then it seems like here I am where my vocal is. And then here's your second track. So we'll scroll out just a little bit. Bring it down to the end. And now you see that line there. That's what you're looking for. Now, sometimes what you can do is go ahead and drag that and delete it a little bit just to get rid of extra space in between songs. But before doing that, leave it as it is and go for your next song. So we've got a hip-hop one and we've got a dubstep song. What are we going to do next? Let's just grab, I'm grabbing them in, I guess I'm just going to go down the list. How about we do that? We'll just start there. So I'm going to grab the next one. This is badass. Well, let's give it a shot. Okay, so we know what that's supposed to sound like. Let's hope it just works without asking to be pitch shifted or adjusted in any way. So let's go with the next one. All right. All right, so now we're up to 3 songs. And my intention here is to basically just do 10 songs in a row, placing them on the storyboard here. Storyboard? Audio board? Canvas. How about we're just going to call it a canvas? I'm not sure if that's what it is, but for the intents and purposes of this video, it's going to be a canvas. Okay, so we've got 3 songs on there now, one of which with a break in between, which is right there. I believe that is. Oh, and you can also, click where you want to go back if you need to, get to something. So there it is, 1, 2, test 1. Okay. All right. So that's something to know. You can always click up here to get to where you need to go. And you can scroll in tightly or scroll them out a bit, which again, as I said, I like to do to keep a little bit of space in between. All right, next track. Put your cursor there. I'm going to go down the line. The next one is called Funky. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab Funky. Slap it in there and see where it go. Now, I did notice that some of these tracks don't have lead-ins. Unlike the music that would be sent to me every now and again, MP3s might have a bit of like 2 to 3 seconds of blank space prior to the song playing. So if that's the case, and the old one also, and the song prior also has a bit of space at the end of the song, what's going to happen is you're going to end up with a big gap in between the 2 tracks that's sort of like dead air. And that's when you can come in and just look for where it stops playing sound. All right. and then kill it right off, like just grabbing it like that. It doesn't even have to be much either, you know, if you just want to get rid of a suck or two and get rid of it, and then all right, so that's how does that sound going from one to the next. All right, so that's not too bad of a gap between the two songs. I mean, there's still a little bit of a few seconds in between, but it's not terrible. All right, so now we're up to 3 songs. And remember when I was talking about the time, right? You got 7 minutes and 57 seconds here. Now, go over here. You got 7 minutes. So it doesn't go, you know, to the exact, but, you know, it's close enough. 7 minutes, 7 minutes. Okay, there you are. So, drag our next track. Oh, I forgot to put funky in there. Oops, I made a mistake. Oh, now that's interesting. Did I screw up someplace? We should have hip hop, dubstep, badass, and funky. And that's what I have here. 1, 2, 3. This is 10 minutes. Okay, so I may have made a mistake. Maybe I didn't put the. Well, that's kind of annoying. All right. Okay, so that's 1 track. That's 2 tracks. 3 tracks. Huh. All right then. I believe I may have. I have to admit I'm slightly confused by that because typically the time frames are right around the same at the end. Oh, there we go. There we go. Never mind. Got it. My mistake. I had. It was a long night. I'm a little tired. I apologize. Okay, so what happened was I had the cursor in the wrong place. I wasn't paying attention. I apologize. But yes, they match up now, as they should. So you've got. So you've got your 10 minutes in the playlist, which I imagine you could probably figure out a way of doing this yourself without using Windows Media Player. I just choose to do it that way. It works. And now you can see exactly why something like that is useful to have a visual representation of what you're playing. Okay, so now we've got our 4 tracks. I'll move down to the end here. Go with 1 more. And that last one was funky, so we're going to go to the next one, which is All That. Put it in there. Grab it, bring it over here. There we go. All right, so now we're up to 12 minutes. Okay, 12 minutes and 32 seconds. But yeah, like I said, you see this is 12 minutes here, and that one's a little bit over. They're not exact, but they're close enough to be able to keep track of the time. And maybe in your situation, keeping track of the time isn't that important. You just want to drag your tracks over. And the whole purpose of this entire video, honestly, was to show you how to use SoundCloud to take multiple MP3s and create a single MP3 playlist, so that you have the one file that's comprised of the multiple files. All right, now we're going to go ahead and go to the next track here. This one looks like it's Moose. Just going to go ahead and slide it on in there. Oh, here we go. Here's a situation that, oh, Never mind. I thought it was going to be longer than that. Like, it seemed like it had a long and oh, okay. All right, then. Yes, this would be a situation where I would zoom in and kind of just grab some of this. We don't really need all that, especially if you're trying to do a playlist where you didn't want a lot of dead air in between. You could just get rid of that, and then okay. Now this here is exactly why I was saying you wouldn't. I mean, you may not want to be listening to each song in real time while you're trying to record them, which is why I prefer to have MP3s if I'm going to be using SoundCloud to put a playlist together. All right. This one here is called Instinct. Okay, we got one here called Jazz Frenchie. Wait a minute, hold on. I gotta, I almost made a mistake and put it in the wrong place. That wouldn't have been funny. It would have been fun to try to go through and fix all that. Now, all right. Next track. Now here's an example of a long ending. I would normally get rid of some of that extra space there, especially if the track coming up next happens to have a long intro. This track here is called Energy. Go ahead and slap it right in there. And you can also, by the way, sometimes bring it up a little closer like that too. But we'll just go with the dark yellow like that. And let's see here. Let's just take care of some of that. We don't need that extra space. Using your arrows, you can scroll. You can zoom. Not zoom. You can scroll back and forth like I am now. Okay. We've only got a couple more tracks to slap in there. As I said, that one's called Energy. This one's called Funny Song. I don't know exactly what's funny about it. I haven't even listened to it. I just pulled these tracks specifically just for this, the purpose of this video. Although there are a couple here I might actually listen to check out. And here's a good example of a long ending that you wouldn't want to keep if you were doing a radio show. Or I suppose doing a playlist where you wanted your songs to roll right into the next one kind of quickly. Looks like we have one more song to drag over. Actually, no. We did them all. So that's 10 items, 10 tracks, for a total of 26 minutes. Okay? So now you got your 10 tracks, your 26-minute playlist. All right? And you're finished. Just gonna go ahead and And that there concludes the ending of this quote-unquote playlist. Now, stop. And once again, we're going to go ahead and delete something we don't need. Just to reiterate how that works. Quote-unquote playlist. Now, what if I didn't like the fact that I said quote-unquote? Because, I mean, it clearly is a playlist, so no air quotes necessary, right? Yes, that really was done intentionally, believe it or not. Okay, all right. So now you know how to take your mic, record into your SoundForge, and make individual tracks, you know, and take individual tracks to create a playlist. And if you have a mic and you want to say something in between the tracks, perhaps maybe to the person that you're recording the playlist to, if that happens to be the case, or if you're a DJ and you're doing something for your radio program. And that there concludes the ending of this. Right. We don't need that there either anyways. Yeah. Okay. And you know, if I was doing this where I wanted to keep it, as I said, I would go up in here and do volume. Now, actually, technically, what I usually do is the volume before I go in and do edits, because sometimes if you've done a lot of edits to your track, your vocals, you might forget to go back and process the volume a little louder. So I do volume and then I do my edits typically. All right, so there we are. That's the full 10 tracks. Now, what do you do from here after you've done this, right? Well, what you want to do is come up here to File, and I mean you can save as a project. Wait, is a workspace? Hold on. How do we do this again? Okay. So what you're going to want to do is what is that? Okay, I need to go find out what the heck that is. Excuse me a minute. Okay. That was crazy. It was something banging out in the back, like near my back porch or whatever. I don't know what that was. Right. I almost lost train of thought. I apologize. Okay, so now you've created your playlist, but you can't render it right now, right? So what you need to do is, I believe it's save as. And then you're going to want to, what you're going to want to do, of course, is go into like one of your drives, create yourself a SoundForge folder to be able to save your stuff in, right? So here we are. Okay, so. Oh, I forgot that's also option. Okay, well, there's two ways of doing this, right? If you wanted to do like a work in progress because you're not finished with your playlist, let's say, but you had to stop for a while, what you want to do is you want to save type as, and then you go up here to SoundForge project file. Okay. And as you see, it changed it to that. So you can save it as a project file. And it will ask you if you want to open a new window. You can say yes if you'd like. And as you see here, now what you have is groovy, Ben Sound Groovy Hip Hop .frg. That's the work in progress. So you can basically come in here and add more music to it, and then save your project. Or if you're ready, okay, you can do two things. You can render as, because you've saved the project, and then when you do render as, you have the option to do WAV format, right, or other audio formats, right? Okay. Right. So basically, you can render it as an audio file of your choice, right? And the other option here, like, is to do this. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and close that because we don't need it. Let's say we're still on that particular, the one that we just finished, without creating a let me see here. Sorry about that. Lost train of thought again. I apologize. All right, so here we are. It's not, as you see here, we're under this one. It's the MP3 file where you don't have the option to render as because it's not a project file like what we originally did. Okay, this, what you want to do is do save as, and instead of doing it as an FRG project file, okay, and that's why I have it under my WIP, which is the work in progress. Let's just say that it was something I was working on, that I was intending on actually using. What I would do is I would change it from here to MP3. Right here, MP3 audio. Now what you can do is name it whatever you'd like to name it. And what we're going to name it is 10 track. I did that on purpose. Play PLYLST. All right, so 10 track playlist. Which, yes, I know that looks terrible. It really doesn't matter. And actually, because it looks so illegible, we're going to try something different. I'm just going to go 10. All right, 10 track. We're just going to call it 10 track. So now you have 10 tracks. We're going to, move into one single MP3. So then you go save. And now it's saving your MP3 that you just created of the multiple playlists. Now, how long it takes will depend on your processor and probably your RAM as well. Just be patient. It won't take too long. And then we'll show you what happens next. That was interesting. It only shows it at 49-50% finished, yet it says it's done. That's interesting. Huh. Okay, so why don't we just go ahead and open that file in a window, because I usually say yes anyways. And the reason why I do that, right, is because then I get the opportunity to go back and verify what I'm working with. And this is why, because it looks like it broke. Maybe it didn't. No, it didn't. It's just we've got this. What is this? What is this? That doesn't look like it worked properly. Just go ahead and delete all of that. What happened? This is a recording to be placed in between two tracks of two songs. Wow, well, something broke because part of that first track looks like it's gone. I really don't know what happened. This is a recording to be placed in between two tracks of two songs. This is a recording to be placed between two songs. 1 2 1 2. Test 1 2. Well, I honestly don't know what happened. I've never seen that happen before. It like lost. I honestly am really quite confused by that. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to close the file. Do we want to save changes to Groovy Hip Hop? No, we do not. We'll cancel that a minute. Go back to the beginning here. I don't understand what happened. That is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. And I've been working with SoundForge for a bit, and that was weird. Let's go back to the beginning, which is what it's supposed to be. Okay, well, somewhere in there something broke because it works with the original. I'm a little irritated by that. Okay, I am. I'm really, really irritated by that because I've never seen it do something quite like that before. It concludes the... All right, you know what? We're going to try again. Let's see if it breaks twice because that was weird. Okay, save as. We're going to overwrite it. And see what happens. Because that was weird. I don't understand why that happened. If this doesn't work, I might have to try again, which means killing this entire video and redoing it. And I really don't want to do that. I'm actually a little surprised by what happened. And also, again, I don't think I've ever seen it do... Yeah, see, something is breaking. Something's definitely breaking because it usually goes all the way to 100% before it does that. And this is why I open it up in a new window to find out exactly what is going on. And it looks like it did it again. Looks like it broke twice. It did. It broke twice. What on earth is happening? Now I'm using Windows Media Player for that. Oh my Lord. Well, weird things happen when you try to work with software. Let's try that again. Well, that sounds like it worked that time. Let's play the other one. I am so weirded out by that, honestly. And like all this, like what is all this? Seriously, I don't understand where all this empty space is. Like, what is all of this? I've never seen it do anything quite like that before. Okay, well, there it is. I just got rid of that blank space at the beginning, and we're still at like a 26-minute, playlist. Huh. That was really, really bizarre. So now that's our MP3. That's the original that we were just messing with. So we're going to go ahead and close the first one. And it's going to say, do you want to save changes? No, because that's the original track, the very first one that we slipped on here. So we're going to say no. This is the playlist that we just created, the 10-track playlist. And that whole weird dead space thing at the very beginning, it's odd. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. And I also don't recall ever having it say that it was finished when it only showed 50% at the bottom. I almost want to try this again with different tracks. I'm really confused. But it worked. It worked. So what we're going to do, go ahead and it's going to probably want me to save changes because I got rid of the empty space at the beginning, which was undo, delete. Oh, I'm not going to do that. So when we go ahead and close this, it's going to ask me to save it, I think. I'm pretty sure. Yes. And then we're going to go ahead and say yes there. And now that that's been done, it's saving the track again. And the reason why I wanted to see this happen is because I'm curious if it's going to stop at 50% again. It was really kind of weird. I think this video has gone on a really long time. We must be hitting a half an hour or something by this point. Maybe 40 minutes for all I know. I think I'm going to try doing using some sort of a counter when I do videos to be able to have an idea of when how much time has gone by. So there it goes. It worked completely without any screw-ups. But now we can just go ahead and close this. And let's remove all of this from the list. All right. Now, this is the folder that we just saved that into. All right. The work in progress, that's the FRG that we were just talking about, the groovy hip hop. Okay. And also, by the way, I want to just, I'm curious of something here. Now, that's pulled in tight. Now, if we zoom out and bring it all the way down. No, there is some blank dead air there, that, or whatever. I don't understand it, but there is a bit of like at the beginning here. But the strangest thing is when we very first did that, it really did cut it off and break it somehow. I don't know what happened there. That was very, very bizarre. All right, so close that. So that was our work in progress, but we've already created the MP3, so now we're going to go into that and grab track 10. And as you see, one item, 26 minutes. So it's all of those. So as you see there, one item, 26 minutes. So it's all of those individual tracks, right, that we just made a single MP3 out of. And you can rename it anything you want, but it's saying groovy hip hop because that is the first track that you had put in, that I put in. Excuse me. Let me see here. Where'd that folder to go? So this is track 10, right? Because that's what I named it. And again, you can name it whatever you want, but it's going to show up as the very first track you put in there. How far is it now? And that there concludes the ending of this. So there you are. All right, that was our whole playlist. And you know what? That little bit of, cut off dead space is definitely worth going through and cutting back because there it is, Otherwise, we would have pressed play and there would have been like moments of just dead air or dead space. For whatever reason that happened, I don't know. I've never actually run into that situation before. It's the first time. But now that we've gone through all of that, we've made our playlist, and what I'm curious about now is we're going to cut this. I'm going to go to downloads, and what we're going to do here is create a new folder and just slide all these in here for a minute. Okay, we don't need this any longer. Now, properties. It is 24.8 megabytes, this folder. So all of those tracks are 24.8 megabytes. All right, now, is it the same? I do not know. I assume it's smaller. Oh, it's actually bigger. No, wait, that's not what I meant to do. That's what I meant to do. Okay, 10 items, 24.8 megabytes. One individual track of all of them comes out to 48.1. So I was actually incorrect in my guess that it was going to be slightly smaller in size. Now, I know that seems odd to think so because you're putting multiple tracks together, right? So why would it be smaller? And I just thought that I assumed that the program SoundForge was doing a bit of compression or something, and that it was going to make it a tiny bit smaller than the original files individually. But it turns out I was incorrect on that, which is fine. Now I learned something. I never actually bothered to go and check this out before, by the way. I just was guessing that might have been the case. However, that being said, okay, you're going only a little bit. It's like, it's doubled 24 to 48, but it's not like a huge difference that much, considering you've got just one track. So what I was thinking in my mind is that if somebody was trying to make themselves a playlist and they wanted to hear the songs in a certain way without having to load every single one of those songs individually into their playlist, into their player to create a playlist if they wanted, let's say, multiple playlists on their MP3 player. That was my train of thought here. That someone could create a playlist, slap the MP3 into their MP3 player or iPod, tablet, whatever their device is, and then, create another playlist and slap that in there. And now you have two MP3s with multiple songs of, variety, as opposed to having 20 MP3s in your player. That's sort of what my train of thought was here. Is simplicity for people who might want to actually put together a playlist. And also, again, as I said, for someone who might be doing an online radio show or on-air radio show. All right, so that's that. I did learn something that is slightly bigger, which actually makes sense. I just thought there was some sort of a compression thing happening. But again, that's not like a huge difference either. I mean, yeah, it doubled it. You squished them all together, but it's not like 60 to 70 megabytes, that much more. It's not entirely as so bad as as it could have been, I guess. All right. Anyways, we know that now of the size that they take up. We're good. We've made our track. Made our playlist. All set. All right. I guess that's a good way to end this. Is there? Oh, it shows here. You know what? I didn't actually notice that before. So this recording has gone on for an hour. Oh, my Lord. I am a little bit surprised by that. I think I'm pretty sure this is going to be one of the longest videos that I've done. All right, then. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording and I guess see what happens there. Thanks for watching.